portal theme is commonly done to personalize the look and feel of a portal environment. However, modifying the out-of-the-box theme directly is not recommended because the changes made will be lost when a cumulative fix is applied. So before we can customize a theme, we first need to create a copy. In this video, I'll walk through the steps to create a full copy of the Portal 8.5 theme. I will perform these steps using a Portal 9.5 CF19 environment, and this theme copy will be a WebDAV-based theme, meaning the static resources will reside in WebDAV and the dynamic resources will be deployed as an EAR file. Now, there are multiple themes on Portal 9.5, so to make it clear, this is a default Portal 8.5 theme which I will be copying. The product documentation outlines all the steps to create the copy, so I'll be referring to it as I go along. First, we need to copy the static resources. I will be using WinSCP as my WebDAV client. In my WebDAV client, I have already set up my server's entry points. I first need to connect to the theme list entry point and copy the ibm.portal.85 theme directory locally. Once that's copied, I need to rename the folder and then update the mentioned properties files. For the folder, I'll name it 9.5 theme. In localize_en.properties, I need to specify the name of my theme, which I will also name 9.5 theme. In metadata.properties, I need to update the parameter com.ibm.portal.layout.template.href with the name of the theme I chose. The last step in this section is to delete the skins directory. Moving on to the next link, we need to copy the skin resources. In my WebDAV client, I'll now connect to the skin list entry point and copy the ibm.portal.85 hidden directory locally. I'll rename my skin to 9.5 skin and update localize_en.properties file with my skin name. On the next link, I'll now copy the dynamic resources. Using FileZilla as my FTP client, I will connect to my 9.5 CF19 portal server and copy the default themes 8.5.war. I won't be using all the files within this war, but I'm copying the entire war just to make things easier. I will be using Rational Application Developer for my IDE. So I'll create a new dynamic web project. name it 9.5 theme, set the dynamic web module version to 2.4, and I'll leave the context root as 9.5 theme. With the project created, I'll copy over the skins and themes directory from the WAR to the web content directory of my project. Next, I'll copy the decorations.xml, plugin.xml, and the TLD directory to the web-inf directory of my project. The last step in this section is to update the web.xml with the whitelist and blacklist context parameters, and I'll copy it over from the documentation. For the next link, we now need to modify the dynamic resource references. First, opening up plugin.xml, I need to ensure that all the IDs are unique. Making the IDs unique will prevent conflicts with the out-of-the-box Portal 8.5 theme. With the IDs updated, I will now rename the dynamic content spot mappings. Now, since my theme has a different module ID, I need to update all the theme profiles with a new module ID. If I don't update the profiles when my theme is rendered, it'll try to use the out-of-the-box Portal 8.5 theme and resources instead of its own. With all the profiles updated, I now need to update the theme_en.html with the new dynamic hotspot mapping names. Going back to plugin.xml, I can copy the name I used, and then I can do a find and replace in my theme.html file. I also need to update the mapping names in plain_en.html file. Now, I'm only updating the English versions of these files, but depending on which languages your portal environment will support, the corresponding locale files should also be updated. With the references updated, I'll move on to the next link, which is to deploy the theme resources. I first need to connect to the themeless entry point and copy my theme directory. Now, there is a note in the documentation that depending on the WebDAV client used, you may get an error when copying. I did encounter this error, but it created my directory, so I just need to copy all the contents into the directory. I'll repeat the steps for the skinless entry point and copy my skin directory. I do want to mention that copying over the themeless and skinless entry points actually registers the theme and skins with Portal. So you only want to copy your new themes and skins once to these entry points, and then for all further updates you should use the FS Type 1 entry point. Now for the dynamic resources. First, I'll export my project as an EAR file. Next, using the WAS admin console, I'll install the application. On step 2, I need to make sure I map the application to my portal server. And once the application is installed, I'll start it. With both the static and dynamic resources deployed and the theme registered, we now need to modify the theme and skin to point to my web application. The next link directs me to export out all the themes and skins using a sample input.xml file. I've already created this file on my server, so I'll just run the XML access on this file. Once a task is complete, I'll transfer over the resulting output.xml file locally so I can edit it. Now I need to update the context root . And if we need a reminder on what we set our context root, we can always check the application.xml from the EAR project. In the theme, we'll add a unique name. I'll also confirm that the theme parameters are all accurately pointing to my theme, which they are. Now for the skin, first I'll update the context root. Update the resource root. And add a unique name. Finally, we need to add my skin to the theme. I'll copy over the object ID from my skin, but I can also use a unique name as mentioned by the documentation. Now I'll transfer over my updated output.xml file back to my server and run XML access on it. The last link gives us directions on how to set the skin as default. So accessing my portal server, under Administration, Themes and Skins, first I can verify that I see both my theme and my skin. I'll edit my theme and set the skin as default. Now to make sure my theme is working, I'll use Manage Pages to create a test page and assign it to my theme. Now if I hit my test page, we should see an empty page which looks like the default Portal 8.5 theme, and this is because we have not made any customizations, so we shouldn't see any differences. At this point, I have a fully functioning copy of the Portal 8.5 theme. I can now make customizations and update the ear file for the dynamic resources and using WebDAV for the static resources.